As a gay man, Republicans will never hate me like Democrats do. Republicans are the party of love. Democrats are the party of hate and intolerance. It is time for us to wipe out the Democrat Party peacefully. The Democrats do nothing but create division and drive neighbors apart. Vote them out of every elected office. It's not even like a good attempt at like pretending to be someone. Like, come on, calling yourself the gay Republican and opening every post with "as a gay man" is such a blatant attempt at trying to pretend that gay people are on your side, when the reality is Republicans are the most hateful people that constantly spread hatred about gay people. On the other hand, Democrats, not so much. I mean, a great example of this is when those two gay Republican men tried to adopt, and they got vitriol and hatred from Republicans constantly. All sorts of horrible stuff. None of that came from Democrats. This video brought to you by my YouTube members and patrons. Thank you guys. How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another subreddit video. Today we are going to be returning to r/AsABlackMan, which is basically a subreddit dedicated to people pretending to be something they're not, thinking that it somehow enhances their point, when really, it just makes them look dumb. It really just makes them look dumb. Very quickly before we begin, I just wanted to mention that YouTube members and patrons, you guys get an extra video every single week for as low as £1 a month. That equates to about 25p per video. So if that is something that interests you, please do consider joining, as it really helps support the channel. Other than that, let's take a look at the subreddit, shall we? Ladies of Reddit, how did your lingerie experience come about? As a female myself, I feel like it depends on our curiosity and exposure from the internet, etc. Say, what led you to your first lingerie purchase? Any insights are welcomed. It's always as a female. Like, it's always really blatantly obvious when it's clearly some dude who doesn't talk to women, right? Who's just like, as a female myself, and it's every time. It's every time. I've never met a woman in real life that referred to themselves as a female or said the words "as a female." I'm a female and afraid that my huge vagina is a disappointment to most men. That's why I haven't had sex anymore for years and years. I mostly even had boyfriends with big cocks, and still some of those has commented my dimensions in a negative way. I could do some pelvic muscle exercise, and I will, but my vagina is still very large. Please tell me about your experiences. Advice is welcome. Was the sex good? Again, I am a female. No, you're not. No woman ever talks like this. No human really ever talks like this. Oh man, there's just so many layers to the like. I even mostly have partners with big penises, but it's not enough. I'm just so wide, and because of that, I just choose to never have sex. Really though? Really? Like, again, like, if you're gonna post something like this, at least make it believable. Like, at the very least, don't open it with "I'm a female." It doesn't make it believable, surprisingly. Knock that shit off. If you just leave them alone, they do their job and go away. Hey man, why did you unearth this 6-year-old account all of a sudden? Are you guys running low on burner accounts at the troll farms? Are you really getting on this guy for voicing his opinion? I'm getting a little tired of the selective moral outrage in here. Where's all the crying for the victims of illegal immigrants? See, it's funny. Your verbiage implies you and the person I'm replying to are different people, but it looks like you forgot to switch your account. Oopsies. Oh, it's such a classic, like, saying something and then responding to the thing you said pretending to be someone else, but forgetting to swap the account. They'll almost always double down though. They'll never like admit that this is something they're doing. They'll double down or give some excuse, which only makes it funnier, ultimately, in the long run. As a female, if you hit a man, expect to be hit back. I stand firmly with that. If I hit a man, I fully expect to be knocked on my ass. Yes, a female. So there's a subreddit I found out exists, which I might have to do a video on, which is r/men and females, I believe it's called, which basically is this. They'll say, as a female, or never refer to women as women, just as females, but then they'll say men, right? Like, as a female, if you hit a man, like, not as a woman, if you hit a man, not I am a woman, none of that, no, as a female, if you hit a man. And it's just, like, it makes it even more unbelievable. It really does. It's peak, like, incel talk, which is they can never refer to women as women. They have to say females, or, like, in some cases, you know, they use the term femoid, which is a classic incel term, but I can only assume that they're so in deep that they're like, oh shit, I need to not come across as a male incel while pretending to be a woman. It doesn't even cross their minds that the word woman exists, so they're like, what's the less bad version of femoid? Oh yeah, female. Yeah, that'll make it believable. And it doesn't make it believable. We all know that you're just some dude pretending to be a woman on the internet to make a point. The silly thing is here, like, the point isn't even that bad of a point. Like, if you hit someone, expect to be hit back. Gender doesn't really play a role in that. If you assault someone, that person can defend themselves, right? Like, that's the world we live in. The law that we have is if you assault someone, they can defend themselves, right? Gender plays no part in that. But, like, they couldn't just say that. They had to open it with, as a female. And it's like, you've just destroyed any point that you might have had by trying to pretend to be a woman, thinking it enhances your point. Hear me out. Crazy thought. What if no one hits anyone? Nope, it was a social rejection of your hair trigger offense and need to let everyone know. This post is a literal example of left cancel culture. Maybe Trump can start a program to offer refunds to college students that failed to exit school with the ability to have a debate. Signed, a lifelong left-leaning liberal. So first of all, they're talking about college students that leave school failing to have a debate, but they can't even spell with or understand punctuation. So bit of projection there, I think. But second of all, I don't believe that this person's a lifelong left-leaning liberal. And I do find it really funny that people like this think that they need to put some kind of credentials at the end of a post, thinking it will, like, enhance their post or make it seem like a better point than it is. But, like, the reality of this is, if I actually believed that this was a lifelong left-leaning liberal supporting Donald Trump, this wouldn't enhance their post or make their post seem more legitimate or, like, a better point that they're making. It would just make them look like an idiot, because that's the only reason a lifelong left-leaning liberal would be supporting Donald Trump, is if you're an idiot. It doesn't make you look smart. It doesn't enhance your point. It doesn't make me go, gee whiz, the liberals are supporting Trump. It makes me go, wow, there are actually people dumb enough to think that they are liberal, left-leaning liberals, and yet support Donald Trump. You see what I'm saying? It doesn't give you any, like, authority or credential on the subject. Signed, a lifelong left-leaning liberal. But, like, she's borderline in blackface, lol. Like, it's literally giving C. Thomas Howell and Soul Man. Sometimes you try so hard to be the wokest person in the room that you actually don't even make any logical sense. I love it when concerned white people go so far in protecting others they circle back around to being accidentally racist. Can I ask you, what made you presume that I'm white? I'm black, actually. Probably this picture of you and obviously not black person on your profile. Yeah, that'll do it. That'll do it. But wait, OP added a bit of extra context. Statement: this person claiming an actress who went from having light brown hair to dark brown hair was effectively doing blackface. When called out on it, she claimed to be a black woman. Her post history very clearly demonstrated that she was not. That's not blackface. Changing your hair color is in no way blackface. That's not. If that was the case, every single white emo kid is doing blackface. That's not blackface. That's not what blackface is. Blackface is a very specific type of cultural appropriation and insult in which someone paints their face black, usually has big red lips, and does some kind of caricature of black people based on a standard that is extraordinarily racist, right? Blackface in and of itself is an attempt at insulting black people by being racist. Changing your hair color is not blackface. If that was the case, this picture of me when I dyed my hair black means that, gee whiz guys, I was doing blackface. Guess I should go run for Prime Minister of Canada. Oh, fuck. What bothers me most about unions is there's no ability to opt out of dues. As a single mother with 2 boys, I'm barely scraping by as it is, and now unions want to cut come to Amazon and make pay them a piece of my salary. No thanks. I always like to put my employer's name in my Twitter handle because I am a real person who definitely exists. So, right, the profile picture as well, I can give an almost 100% guarantee is not a real person. That is an AI picture. And the reason I know this is because I used to work for a company that had us make AI profiles on LinkedIn of people pretending to be employees for the company. Okay, we had fake names and we had AI profile pictures. And every single one of the profile pictures that all came from the same site looked exactly like this. Like exactly like that. The same like close-up of the face, nothing below the neck, a plain like beige or white colored background, and a kind of photogenic smile. And that was all of the photos. And my boss would use them to comment on his own posts to make it look like he had a more engaged group of staff when he was trying to sell his stuff on LinkedIn. That's 100% what this is. But also, if a company is putting this much effort into union busting, you need to know that that is absolutely when you need unions most. If unions weren't effective, then companies wouldn't try so hard to get rid of them. You wouldn't need anti-union propaganda. Any amount of anti-union propaganda is immediate evidence that you need a union if you're working for that company, okay? And some of the points this makes, like paying dues to your union, like, yeah, you do have to pay dues to your union. You do have to pay a little bit of money to your union. However, if that union never existed, your wages would probably be a fraction of what they are now. You'd probably be getting paid about half of what you're getting paid in much worse working conditions, with less breaks, with like more hours. Like your life would be infinitely worse if those unions didn't exist. And your employers know that. They know that they could get away with paying you less and putting you in worse working conditions, which would cost them less money. That's why they have anti-union propaganda, because unions cost them money because they have to do more for you. That's why you need unions. If you struggle to understand the difference between a man and a woman, you probably won't understand tariffs or international trade policy either. I'm trans, and I laughed at this meme. It's a funny meme. It's not, though. Like, it's not. I could understand a trans person laughing at an anti-trans meme if it was actually funny, being like, haha, that's shitty, but like, it was funny. Like, people laugh at humor directed at them as an insult if it's funny to laugh at that insult, right? But this isn't funny, and it doesn't make sense. It's not. If you struggle to understand the difference between a man and a woman, trans people don't struggle, though. They don't. And in fact, trans people are far more in touch with their gender because they've probably done a whole lot more exploring of their identity than most cis people, right? I would absolutely argue that most trans people are probably way more aware of and in touch with their gender than most cis people, right? But also, they don't understand international trade policies or tariffs. They still think that China is paying for the tariffs. They still think that when there are tariffs and taxes on imported goods, China pays for them, not the people buying the imported goods. Because let's be honest, China's not paying shit. You're paying those tariffs. When those goods come in, you pay those tariffs, and those tariffs go straight into the government's pocket. China isn't paying that. You are. And they don't understand that. They will continue to argue that tariffs are a great idea and that they have no effect on the general populace. Despite the fact that they make everything more expensive, it doesn't affect China in any way. They don't get it. They don't get it at all. But that is where I'm going to end the video. Were you fooled by any of these people? At any point, did someone refer to themselves as a female and you were instantly like, yep, definitely a woman talking right there? Because I sure wasn't. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. I hope you have enjoyed. If you would like to support me in making more content like this, then I have a Patreon in the description down below, or equally you can click that join button on my channel to support me. It helps a lot more than you might realize, but by no means should you feel like you have to. I'm going to keep making content regardless. But a huge, massive special thank you to every YouTube member and patron that does support me. It really helps a lot, like way more than you might realize. So thank you to everybody that does. Genuinely, it helps so much. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you have enjoyed. And as always, I will see you in the next video. Peace out.